is calling us forward, upward motion. With drops in one ocean, roll on.
Will you rise up with me today? Lift up your voice and boldly say, we are the ones we've been waiting for.
Live the dream of your highest calling. Be the hope of a new day dawning. We're the ones who can make a difference. Let's stand together. Share your gifts with the world that's waiting for a change that we're all creating. It's a moment for our greatness. Let's stand together now. Oh, 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 oh.
Every day's a chance you can do something amazing to feel your passion blazing and shine. Hey.
Paint with every vision, dance in new directions, explode to new heights in your mind.
I will rise up with you today.
Lift up my voice.
Lift up my voice and boldly say, we are the ones we've been waiting for.
Live the dream of your highest calling. Be the hope of a new day dawning. We're the ones who can make a difference. Let's stand together. Share your gifts with the world that's waiting for a change that we're all creating. It's a moment for our greatness. Let's stand together now. Yeah. One dream, one voice, one heart, one word, one dream, one voice, one heart, one word. Stand together. One dream, one voice, one heart, one word. Stand together. Live the dream of your highest calling. Be the hope of a new day dawning. We're the ones who can make a difference. Let's stand together. Yeah, yeah. Share your gifts with the world that's waiting for a change that we're all creating. It's a moment for our greatness. Let's stand together now. Stand together.
Live the
Be the hope of a new day dawning.
Be the
We're the ones who
hope.
can make a
Share your
difference.
gifts.
Let's stand together.
now.
Share your gifts with the world that's waiting for a change that we're all creating. It's a moment for our greatness. Let's stand together now. Stand together.
Live the dream.
Good morning, and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, where we are here to remind you that such is the nature of life, that all it wants and all it asks is the opportunity to appear. You are that opportunity, so am I, and so it is. So on this wonderful day, we are here to celebrate you. We're here to celebrate life. We're here to celebrate the goodness of God in all things and in every way. We know and we recognize that whoever you are an expression of the divine. Therefore, we honor you, we celebrate you, and we call forth from within each of us the very best of what that means. Today, we're very happy to have the opportunity to hear more about this and more about who and what we are. And first, to do that, let us listen to the video and some of our practitioners as they share our declaration of principles. I believe
in one God,
one absolute power and first cause to all things.
I believe that this power is perfect love
and creates out of a desire to express love.
I believe all thought is creative and how I choose to think creates my personal experience.
I believe in the unity of all life.
And the immortality of the individual soul.
Forever unfolding.
I believe
I believe
I believe in the eternal goodness,
The eternal goodness of God.
The eternal loving kindness.
and the eternal givingness of God to all.
And so it is.
and so it is.
And so it is. Today we're honored to have with us Reverend Julie Lobato. Julie is an employee at Home Office. She is one of the ministers who is working there, serving all of the organization and all of us. She is also the pastor of the Castle Rock Religious Science Center, or Center for Spiritual Living. She is a dear friend and has been a part of my life for most of my life, for most of her life for sure. She was born in the same hospital near where my daughter was born. We've bounced around each other's lives and known each other in different places and ways over the years, the many years, and now we are dear friends. So I know you're in for a real treat and some real excitement. I have in presenting you with this opportunity to hear her. So after the next thing on our program, a practitioner presentation, you'll hear from Reverend Julie. Practitioners are an integral part of who we are. They are the core of this organization. They are the foundation, the spiritual, mental foundation on which we're built. And our practitioners serve you in many, many ways. One of those practitioners is speaking to you today, Barbara Guillory, and we are very happy to have her here, very happy that she is ready to share with you. So without anything further, Barbara, take it away.
Wow. Well, good morning, everyone. Very much thrilled to be here. I want to say welcome to everyone. And I had a chance to speak with Reverend Julie, and I can tell you we are in for a treat. So today, just want to share with you one of the many experiences that I've had in this teaching. I've been in this teaching now over 30 years. One of the things that I have enjoyed about this teaching was the tagline, change your thinking, change your life. So back when I first initially got started in the teaching, just like anyone, things just not working, everything seemingly happening to me. So I'm in this victim mindset, this victim mentality. So it's always to me. It's always about me. It was that experience that I brought into the teaching. And at that time, it was the science of mind. My brother had gone to the military. And when he returned with a drinking problem. So it was about the same time that I was entering the teaching. And so one of those times, my brother just had been drinking. And of course, you really, really hate to see your loved one suffering. So I'm the one to come in to fix it. My fix for him was simply to fix him something to eat, fix his bed, fix that whole experience that he was having, not really understanding how that was taking place. So about a year later, I'm again in the teaching, but of course by this time I have done a number of classes. I've done a lot of work. I had been attending the classes, doing the work, and of course you continue to do the work. Why? Because you begin to see the results. So about a year later, I began sharing with my brother, oh, you don't have a drinking problem, you have a thinking problem. Because at that time, I drank the Kool-Aid. I had begun to change my thinking. And of course, at that time, my life had began to change as well. So I wasn't having these victimized experience as much. And then the ones that I was having, they were nowhere as intense as they had been in the past. And so in sharing what I had learned, I wanted to again share with my brother. So no, you don't have a drinking problem. You have a thinking problem. Long story short, he began to listen to me and understand how he could begin to change his thinking. He allowed me to take him to the VA because, again, as a veteran, he qualified for these benefits. And I would say to him, well, if they say you don't have a drinking problem, I'll just take you anywhere you want to go. But the mantra that I had always shared with him, you don't have a drinking problem, you have a thinking problem. So ever since then, of course, this teaching just has been a way of life for me. It is actually a lifestyle for me. So I just kind of wanted to share that experience and how I have been able to benefit. And again, it comes from doing the classes, doing the work, because it just doesn't happen until you are actively involving yourself in what it is that you believe about yourself. So at this time, I would like to do a treatment and share with you the treatments that I have been doing, again, for myself as well as others, and again, for my brother, my family, whoever that may be. Today's quote is, out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. That is a quote by Rumi. And right now, I want us to go to that field. I want us to meet there. So if you would join me in knowing there is but the one spirit, there is but the one magnificence, there is but the one substance, there is but the one universe in and of itself that creates everything in existence. There is only goodness that exists and only goodness that can be created. In this knowing of the magnificence, of the oneness, of the truth, of the universe, of the substance in and of itself, I connect with this oneness. I connect with this universe. I connect with this substance. I connect in spirit to know I am a co-creator of my experience. I am a co-creator of all that I am. I am a co-creator with the universe. I'm a co-creator with the magnificent. I am a co-creator with the creator. I am a co-creator with spirit. And as a co-creator with spirit, in this very moment, I create for myself an experience of peace. As co-creator with spirit, as co-creator with the universe, I create the desired experience right here, right now, in this very moment. In creating this experience of peace, I am open, I am receptive to this unfolding of spirit, to this unfolding of the universe, to this unfolding of the magnificent, simply because as co-creator, I can trust this process. In my trusting of this process, I can know without a doubt the infinite in and of itself. There is an infinite amount of peace that exists, that is here. And as I co-create with spirit an experience of peace, I can know that I am experiencing peace in this very moment. I am experiencing peace in my mind. I am experiencing peace in my body. I am experiencing peace in my soul. As co-creator, I can know without a doubt that I bring to the world an experience of peace. I am that conduit, connected with the spirit, connected with the divine in and of itself, the divinity in and of itself, bringing forth an experience of peace, not only just for myself, but for those that I know, for those that know me. I bring forth an experience of peace for everyone, for my family, for those that exist all over the world. I bring forth an experience of peace for the world. It is this world peace that I contribute to as a conduit, bringing forth this wonderful, beautiful experience. It is this knowing, it is this process, it is my being a co-creator with spirit. I am thankful for, I am grateful for. It is this very knowing, it is this process that I do give thanks for, knowing that it is so. And so it is. So, right now, I would like to introduce our song for today, I'll Meet You There, which is Jan, Garrett, and J.D. Martin. Take it away.
I'll meet you there. You guys sing along. You'll find it. Goes like this.
There's a place I often go where I can find peace and rest my soul. Come on, everybody, I'll meet you there. It's a place that clears my mind. It's so close, it's not hard to find. Come on, everybody, I'll meet you there. I'll meet you in the morning before the world begins. Give up the same old story and start all over again. I'll meet you there. I'll meet you there. Yeah. It's a feeling I can't describe, a destination you'll recognize. Come on, everybody, I'll meet you there.
Yes, I will.
It's the gift we resist the most. That's how we know it's a place to go. Come on, everybody, I'll meet you there. I'll meet you in the morning before the world begins. Give up the same old story and start all over again. I'll meet you there. I'll meet you there. I'll meet you there. Deep down inside, I'll meet you there. We can fly. I'll meet you there. Take it from the heart. I'll meet you there. That's the place to start. Take us party to the street. Shake it up and move our feet. Come on, everybody, I'll meet you there. Yes, I'll meet you in the morning before the world begins. Give up the same old story and start all over again. I'll meet you there.
Yes, I will now. All right.
I'll meet you there.
That's right.
I'll meet you there. I'll meet you. Come and go with me.
All right. I'll meet you there. Thank you.
Joyful greetings, everyone, as we finish this incredible month of October of our theme, Going Further Together. Today's topic in our deep dive is I'll Meet You There, and it's based on a fairly well-known Rumi quote that begins like this: out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. So this particular quote by Rumi for today's topic reminds me of one of my most favorite parables. It's an old parable about a farmer and his neighbor. So it goes like this. In a kingdom far, far, far away, a long time ago, lived a farmer with a son and his neighbor. And one day, the farmer's horse got out of the paddock and ran off into the woods. And his neighbor happened to be going by, and his neighbor said, "Oh, that's too bad." And the farmer just kind of listened to him and said, "We'll see." The next day, his horse that had run off into the woods came back with 10 other horses. And his neighbor going by told the farmer, "Wow, that's incredible. You just gained 10 more horses." And the farmer just nodded his head and accepting his neighbor's comment and said, "We'll see." Later that day, the farmer's son was in the paddock with one of those wild horses, and he was attempting to ride him, attempting to break him, attempting to train him, and the horse reared up and threw the farmer's son, and the farmer's son broke his leg. And the neighbor going by said, "Oh my gosh, that's terrible." And the farmer just acknowledged the neighbor and said, "We'll see." The very next day, the king of that kingdom made a decree and stated that they were going to war with the kingdom next door. And the king made a decree that all able-bodied sons had to report immediately to fight in that war. So, of course, the farmer's son couldn't go. He had just broken his leg. So the neighbor said, "Oh, that's amazing. He was spared from going and fighting in war." And then farmer said, "We'll see." So as you can see from that parable, the invitation right now is to be in that field, to meet me, to meet every aspect of your life in that field where there is no wrongdoing or right doing. There is no good or bad. There just simply is. As we enter into a more full understanding and expression of our principle of oneness, there just is divine energy and expression at all times. Mary O'Malley says this in her book, What's in the Way is the Way. She says, opening to life brings you into full engagement with what is happening, rather than keeping you caught in a conversation about life. It means giving up your war with what life is bringing you. Could you now just imagine giving up whatever war may be occurring within you of what life is bringing to you right now? You know, those appearances as they may pop up in our life. The rest of the Rumi quote, from beginning with out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field, I'll meet you there. The rest of the quote goes like this: when the soul lies down in that grass, The world is too full to talk about. Ideas, language, even the phrase each other doesn't make any sense. So you see, I believe that Rumi is saying when we discover the truth, when we discover one of our grand principles of oneness, that we are all connected, that there is absolutely no separation, then we will no longer be separated from each other. So the idea is, imagine that world in which there is no sense of separation, where we know that we're completely connected with one another. One of my most favorite poets, David White, says this in his Consolations poem: to live one's genius is to dwell easily at the crossing point where all the elements of our life and our inheritance join and make a meeting. To live one's genius is to dwell easily at the crossing point. So because we are ending our theme and coming to an end of our month of October, I want to take us on a little bit of a journey of where we've been so far this year as we spiraled through this year, allowing ancient wisdom to express as evolutionary vision through us. We take a moment now to look back at our spiral journey. You know, we began in January with looking above, committing to our upward journey. A quarter later, at the end of May, we looked at boldly living a new story, letting go of the old stories, individual and collective, letting go of those old stories that slow our evolution. And this week, on the third level of the spiral, we rise to a meeting point out beyond that duality thinking, out beyond those ideas of right and wrong, to a place where we meet as evolutionary visionaries. So in our symbolic and in our mind, as we near the top of the mountain to prepare to pause, we remember that we are reaching toward an experience of divine communion with ourselves, with one another, and with spirit. So you know that we are spiritual beings having a spiritual experience in human form. When the psalmist wrote, "I will lift up my eyes to the mountain from whence comes my help," it's a reminder to move beyond getting stuck in current circumstances. You know, those appearances that we are almost from the very beginning of life itself, we're trained to compare, to analyze, to judge, to do what the farmer's neighbor constantly did. And that was, oh, that's good, or oh, that's bad. When those appearances, when those experiences show up in our life, the invitation here is to look up, to rise up in our consciousness, in our viewpoint, to look up and remember that we are spirit and form, completely, totally, and always supported by and as spirit. It is not the circumstances that surround us that aren't real. It's not that these appearances, these circumstances aren't real. I mean, the farmer's son literally did break his leg. That's a reality. Yet knowing and trusting and having faith that the reality of spirit is greater and resolves the appearances of all separation, of all hurts, of all fears, of all anger. It's that invitation to surrender to being in the flow and the divine harmony of spirit itself, being a part of that life that quote earlier that I had mentioned from Mary O'Malley. It's not getting caught in the conversation about life. It's being in that life, in fully being it, in total surrender to the flow of spirit itself. So it doesn't mean that the circumstances and appearances aren't real. The invitation is, from what perspective on that mountain are we planning on engaging in life? So I ask you to ask yourself right now, where by chance do you get stuck in the ideas of right and wrong, good and bad? Where in your life right now are some of those popping up for you? You know, we're living a life, we're alive, we're conscious beings. There are going to always be appearances, whether individually within my very life in this day, in this moment, or globally. There are appearances, and they have their reality. Yet the invitation is to understand, embody, and remember that there is a reality greater than appearances. There is something far greater taking place than just what meets the eye. And we don't necessarily want to ignore them. We don't want to deny them. We don't want to go around. That's in our teaching something that we call spiritual bypass. It's said that Jesus achieved resurrection not by skirting through the suffering, but by going straight through it. The psalmist notes that we walk through the valley of the shadow of death, not around it. So we are to face appearances, we're to face the experiences of life coming up before us as we're engaged fully in it, head on, allowing the infinite within us to guide us through. And when we are completely surrendering to that, when we are in complete faith and trust to that, we truly resurrect and ascend into a greater knowing. The invitation, I think, with Rumi's quote is that to do that, we establish a new normal. We are engaging in a whole new understanding of living our life in that harmony and faith and trust, free of past ideas, free of contrast and duality, free of right and wrong and good and bad. Thomas Troward says this in Creative Process and the Individual: what we shall eventually attain is not that we merely wish, but what we regard as normal. So what would your life be like? What would your life feel like if you completely trusted the universe, completely trusted infinite intelligence, life itself expressing as a divine being? What would a new normal look like for you? Rumi also says, what you seek is seeking you. So take that to the next level. Take that the next step of looking up, coming from that higher consciousness of perception and understanding and embracing. Since what we are willing to engage in and perceive from that higher vision of looking up is what we're seeking, it will seek us as well. It'll be exactly what is in our experience. Today is a time where many cultures around the world celebrate a belief in the fact that the veil between worlds is thin, between the world that we're physically living in and breathing in and eating in and sleeping in is thin with other spiritual realms. Today being Halloween and Samhain and Dia de Muertos coming up, they're all considered threshold days. And the idea is to use those as a metaphor for moving past what could be presenting as the scary appearances in our life, the scary monsters, and then honoring the other world. In a way, if you are in a neighborhood where the children are trick-or-treating today, you could view those children trick-or-treating with delight, and we typically do. You know, we laugh at and really honor and appreciate their costumes and their creativity. So this is a day where we view them doing that with delight instead of fear. So the invitation here is, what if we brought that same consciousness knowing that we are safe despite appearances, knowing that we are in the flow, we're in the harmony, we're in the perfect divine expression of God itself always. What if we were to bring that consciousness to the circumstances of our life and our world, all of our world, the whole world? We can meet on a plane, we can meet in a field beyond our current familiar one that may include comparison, duality, good and bad, right and wrong. Ernest Holmes says in the Science of Mind text, Ernest says, we cannot be in peace until we know that the spirit is the only cause, medium, and effect in our lives. There is no past, no present, and future to it. Evil has no history and has never entered into the being or the experience of reality. You see, if we stay in the field of right and wrong doing, if we stay in the field of duality, we will not experience true freedom and the true love of the universe, the true being in that harmony. The invitation today is to let go of old stories, to let go of old beliefs, hurts, fears, and angers. And in letting those go, we do this not by wrestling with them, yet by looking up, by raising our ability to understand, to embody them, to enter into that connection and that oneness and that unification that we share with our divine source, which is our freedom. The invitation is to also let go of your measurement devices. Because in order to call something good or bad or right or wrong, we have to have installed measurement devices at some point. And the invitation is to let those go as well. What if we didn't need to measure anything at all? What if, just like the farmer's neighbor who measured everything with, oh, that's great, or oh, that's too bad. The farmer, of course, is the symbolism of being in that flow, being in that harmony, knowing whatever appearance is showing up in this moment, there is a right and perfect pattern to absolutely everything. And whatever it is that I am seeking is seeking me. And so I am going to take it in and embrace it and see it from that higher perspective. I'm going to raise my consciousness away from that field of right and wrong into the field of oneness. So I am going to pass on with this message today a little bit of homework. The homework is this week, starting today, spend some time each day this week in taking an area of concern, whether it's an area of concern for you personally, whether it's an area of concern globally, and sit with your eyes upward. Sit with your gaze above the horizon and invite spirit, invite infinite intelligence and wisdom that's dwelling within to shed light on that circumstance. And then listen without analyzing. Remember, you let go of your measurement device, so there's nothing to analyze, there's nothing to measure. So without analyzing, just listen to the wisdom that might seem to be coming from beyond the veil, yet is actually living within you always. Alan Watts says that to the enlightened individual, it appears as a vivid and overwhelming certainty that the universe, precisely as it is in this moment, as a whole and in every one of its parts, is so completely right as to need no explanation or justification beyond what simply is. That's the invitation. to the enlightened individual, it appears overwhelmingly that the certainty of the universe precisely in this moment, as a whole and with every single part of its parts, is so completely right that it needs no explanation. I'm going to read the Rumi quote again in the completeness of it. Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. When the soul lies down in that grass, the world is too full to talk about. Ideas, language, even the phrase each other doesn't make any sense. You see, when we meet in that field, there is no other. And it just doesn't make any sense to try to prove that in any way. Our affirmation for the week is I step out beyond my old limiting ideas into a fresh, new field of freedom. I step out beyond my old limiting ideas into a fresh, new field of freedom. So I invite you to go into treatment with me. And in going into this treatment, we are going in with the understanding that we see a world in which every person lives in alignment with his or her highest spiritual principle, emphasizing unity with God and connection with each other, a world in which individually and collectively we are called to a higher state of consciousness and action. So as we enter into this spiritual mind treatment for today, knowing that the principle of oneness is totally and completely at hand, I know and recognize that there is an energy vibrating at its highest level, known and expressing as love. And that this expression is divine within itself, that it is infinitely intelligent, it is all powerful and always present. It is completely embodied within me and within every single being. I know that this energy connects all of us, knowing that we are in full and complete harmony in this life, and that there is a perfect pattern unfolding at every moment, at every second, within every aspect of our being. And I know that as we have choice and volition in which we guide and direct our thoughts and our perspective, I know that we are guided in this moment to raise our perspective and viewpoint to the highest, which is resembled and revealed as connection and oneness. I know that any idea of wrong and right, any idea of good and bad just completely dissolves and goes back into the nothingness from which it came. For there is only one. There is one divine idea. There is one expression of love. And it shows up as life. It shows up as light and peace and power and joy and harmony. It shows up as each one of us individually expressing. And so I know that any appearance that's showing up in our life right here and now is completely supported, is completely lit up by the highest perspective possible. And that there is a perfection in how everything is unfolding within our lives. I am so grateful to surrender to this harmonious experience and expression of the divine in every aspect of my life. I am so grateful to feel and know the connection and the oneness and the unity that is all there is. And I am so grateful to have the ability to look up and go within and listen to the infinite wisdom in every moment. I know that this is the truth, and I celebrate this truth, and I release it into the law that always says yes. And so it is. Namaste.
Thank you, Reverend Julie. That was an awesome, inspired talk. So I am the treasurer of the Centers for Spiritual Living Midtown Atlanta, and I want to invite you to consider what you're thinking and the spiritual food that you're getting from these talks that we have every week that are amazing, whether it's from our senior minister, Reverend Bob Dean, or guest ministers like Reverend Julie, that feed us all just wonderfully well spiritually. So I tithe regularly. I have an ongoing tithe campaign set up. You can do that if you want at cslmidtown.org/donate, or you can do a one-time gift there. Any of those options work, and that's available easily. So now, if you would, say with me our affirmation of prosperity. I live in a universe of abundance. As I freely and joyfully give, I join in the divine flow, and all that I share with life returns to me multiplied abundantly. And so it is. And on to announcements.
And it's time for everybody's favorite fun game, announcements. Hey, stay in touch with the Center for Spiritual Living Midtown through our newsletter. Get one email a week letting you stay informed. And please subscribe when visiting YouTube to our YouTube channel. Those subscriptions go a long, long way. And while you're on your social media, why not give us a like and a share on Facebook? Let your friends know what we're doing. Invite them to come watch our services with you. And join us on our Zoom room throughout the week. We offer a variety of Zoom interaction opportunities each and every week here as part of the Center for Spiritual Living Midtown. 10 a.m. Sundays, our discussion group around the 365 Science of Mind book. Every Sunday, 12 noon Sundays, our community fellowship immediately following our Sunday services. And 12 noon on Tuesday, our online empowerment opportunity. The access information remains the same for all of our Zoom experiences. If you need access, please visit cslmidtown.org and you'll find access information on our website. Join us on any of our Zoom opportunities throughout the week. And while you're with us, be sure to connect with one of our professional practitioners. These are folks that are highly trained to support you along your spiritual journey. You can learn more on our website about our professional practitioners. Just head over to cslmidtown.org, click on About and Practitioners. Then you'll see their bios and a way to reach them and learn a little bit more about each of them. And please send us your prayer requests. Click on the Home tab and look for Affirmative Treatment Prayer Requests. Fill out the form, send it off, and get our professional practitioners praying for you each and every day. All right.
Thank you, Reverend Julie. Thank you, everyone, for participating. It's been so good to have you with us. Just a quick reminder that on Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. we have our Wisdom Wednesdays, where we look at various ideas of the science of mind in our teaching and how it applies to our lives. Starting in November, we're doing 3 weeks on overcoming fear. We live in a world right now where fear-mongering seems to be the prominent and exciting thing. So we invite you to join us as we look at spiritual principle in relationship to dealing with the fear that any of us may have or may carry. I invite you also then to join me in our closing. Our affirmation of life. I leave this place now knowing something better than I knew before. I go forth into the world with a heart full of love and a mind full of good sense. I look at the world in a greater way, knowing that I have within me everything I need to create the life I desire. I give thanks for this understanding, and I am grateful for the spirit of life that lives through me, and so it is.